Hey there. Hi, everyone. This is Prema McKeever here, and I'm excited to be going into the next part of our Building Resilience series. And so today we're going to look at part two of the physiology of trauma, what's happening inside the branches of our nervous system. If you didn't watch part one yet, I would suggest you go back to that. This video will make more sense if you've seen that one first. So in the last video, we went over the parts of our nervous system, and now we're going to look at what trauma actually is. And to give you a hint, and probably to no big surprise to many of you, it's what is still stuck in our nervous system and body. So as we talked about, a healthy nervous system has this flow. We want to be able to go into sympathetic activation. That can mean, gearing up for a job interview, talking to our boss, having a playful game with friends. I'm going out dancing, cleaning the house. I'm handling different stressors when they come up in life, holiday shopping, traffic, whatever it may be. So we can have our sympathetic nervous system activate, give us that extra energy that we need to get things done that we want to get done, to be able to be focused on our task, to really have what's needed in our body and our mind to meet the challenge. And then we want to be able to settle. We want our parasympathetic nervous system. Remember the vagus nerve we talked about last time. We want our parasympathetic nervous system to be able to balance us out and be able to bring us back down into a place of feeling settled, relaxed, connected, present with ourselves. And then the cycle continues as life needs it to happen. But there's this thing called tuning of our system. Now, some of us move easily between this parasympathetic and sympathetic, that flow, and that's what we want. That's resilience, when we can move into sympathetic and then back to parasympathetic and to be able to meet the challenges. But everybody gets tuned based on our prior life experiences. And that's because our brain and our nervous system is a learning system based on how it's been used. So our nervous system will become tuned, or you can say more used to responding in a particular way. And it can be tuned to respond more with the vagus nerve and social engagement, again, feeling calm, present, relaxed, able to be in connection with people, or it can be tuned more to respond and to be in more of a sympathetic state. That's more that fight-flight activity. Or our nervous system can be tuned to be more in the dorsal state, which is more of a dissociated, feeling kind of numb, disconnected, not really present when different types of stressful situations happen. We develop a pattern of tending to respond in one of these three ways primarily. And when we're tuned in a particular way, we lose that flow. We don't have that regulatory flow that we want. And that regulatory flow is a big part of resilience. So as this happens in our life, starting from our earliest age, every new stressor creates a kind of a messaging system, a feedback loop, which further makes our stress response the way it is. It's kind of like in a couple of videos ago, I talked about if you're going through the woods and there's a well-worn pathway, or if you have to chop your way through a whole new pathway. Well, our brain and our nervous system prefers usually to go the well-worn pathway. It's easier. It's what's been tuned. It's our system is used to. And then this creates, and more times we go down that similar pathway, it further entrenches that pattern, that stress response pattern. So what happens though in trauma is that traumatic symptoms keep on arising when that regulatory flow between our sympathetic and our parasympathetic system is interrupted. We get either overactivated, there's too much or too fast activation happening. And all these different patterns, whether it's overactivation or more of that underactivation freeze response, the fight, the flight, or the freeze, they're all automatic. We actually don't get to consciously choose. They happen as an automatic pattern based on what our autonomic nervous system feels is going to give us the highest chance of survival. And when these systems are not in their flow, it can be like driving a car with both the gas and the brake pedal pushed at the same time. And this compromises our resilience. It compromises our ability to cope with new stressors. because instead of being able to work with them in a regulated way, we tend to go more into that freeze response, or we might over respond and go into that fight flight response when getting that level of activation or that level of freeze wasn't necessary based on the circumstances. So when our nervous system becomes dysregulated for prolonged periods of time, it can lead to one of three things. Either we're being more stuck on an on position, that's that sympathetic system is on. That feels a lot like we're in chaos all the time, or there's anxiety, we can't focus, we're very hyper vigilant. The smallest little things can send us into a startle response or get us feeling upset. That's more being stuck on. And then the other option is being stuck on off. And that's when we're more shut down, brain fog, spaced out, we isolate, we feel very lethargic. We feel like we just don't have the energy to deal with anything. We just want to be left alone in a dark room. And then the third option is both. We can alternate between these two. So unresolved trauma is often when we stay in what's known as that functional freeze. We are functioning on the outside, but our body is shut down in such a way to conserve oxygen. It slows down metabolism. It slows down digestive function. All the internal freeze happens there. And it takes a lot of energy actually to be stuck, to be kind of in that frozen shutdown state. So paradoxically, we have a lot of energy revving and we're shut down and frozen. So the healthy nervous system, again, that easy flow. When we're in this more of the undischarged traumatic stress, this severely impacts our resiliency. We can be stuck in on, which means we have things more like anxiety, panic, the startle response, hypervigilance. We get flooded easily with our feelings. There's also a place where we can have a lot of problems with sleeping, insomnia, a lot of feelings of anger, resentment that don't resolve. That's more the stuck on, that sympathetic event, sympathetic activation. Or we can be more in the stuck on off. We could have feeling more chronically fatigued, deadness, disconnected. Our digestion doesn't work. We have a lot of bloating. Things don't digest in our system. They kind of stay stuck inside. We feel pretty flat. We feel depressed. We don't feel like connecting with people. Those type of things is more that being in that stuck in that freeze response. So in either case of autonomic nervous system dysregulation, there's some health issues that are pretty common to see, such as migraine headaches, heart arrhythmias, dizziness, chronic dizziness, not an occasional when you stand up. That's something different. That's pretty normal, actually. Chronic pain that doesn't go away no matter how many massages you get or how many chiropractors you visit. Fibromyalgia, any of the syndrome conditions, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, asthma, autoimmune diseases. That is because our autonomic nervous system also regulates our immune system. And when we have dysregulation in our autonomic nervous system and that sympathetic, parasympathetic, due to unresolved trauma, that impacts our immune system and can lead to a whole host of these sort of conditions. I love this quote by Dr. Peter Levine. He is the creator of somatic experiencing. He says, traumatic symptoms are not caused by the triggering event itself. They stem from the frozen residue of energy that has not been resolved or discharged. This residue remains trapped in the nervous system where it can wreak havoc on our body and spirit. That's from his famous book, Waking the Tiger. If you haven't read that book yet, I highly recommend it. So in building resilience, bringing us back to what we want to do here, we often think that resiliency is just about toughing it up, getting over it, just putting our head down and barreling through. We think about, we need to think positive thoughts and affirmations, things like that to overcome adversity and build resilience. And those things can be helpful. Mindset is important, but it's really difficult, if not impossible, to really change your mindset just from your thoughts if your nervous system itself has this frozen energy and if it has the unresolved traumatic energy causing that nervous system dysregulation, causing our nervous system to stay stuck in that fight, flight response, or more in that freeze response. So resilience is about the nervous system. It's about more than that. We'll be covering that in future videos as well. But as a foundation, it is about the nervous system. It's about our body's stress response and our ability to remain in a healthy range of arousal and being able to activate and deactivate without getting stuck in one of those overactivated or underactivated states. Again, this flow. That's what we want to achieve through different types of exercises that I'll be showing you at home, through work with a good therapist. Nothing that we're discussing here is supposed to replace therapy, but it's to give you some tools and techniques and understanding so you can also do your own work at home to support your development of a healthy nervous system and building greater resilience. So in our next videos, we're going to be going more into our brain and neuroplasticity. We'll be doing more videos about how you can build resilience, body-based home practices, and much, much more. I'm really looking forward to what we'll be going into next. And if you want to do a deep dive into this work, if you want to focus and learn more about your body, your developmental history, what's held in your body and the muscles and the nervous system, I'm teaching a really special course called Healing Developmental Trauma. It'll be May 17th to the 23rd in Colorado at this great retreat center there. And this will be ways that if you already work with people, that you can bring in new tools and techniques into your sessions. And if you're somebody who wants to explore more of what's going on inside your own body and to understand deeper about how your earlier life events have shaped and formed your personality structure and your body structure, this group is also for you. You can find more about it at my website, or feel free to reach out below. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Love to hear about them. And I look forward to hearing about how these exercises are going for you, and see you more in future videos. Take care and bye for now.